Well, nice to know that not much has changed. Here's my issue. Against Sunderland, they looked better. Against Watford, they looked worse. Against Man U, they looked terrible. I'm like, okay, so nothing's changed. Against Crystal Palace, they looked great. I'm like, okay, so we're back. Against Scunthorpe, they looked slow. They looked sluggish. They looked terrible. I'm like, okay, so we're not. Today, slow, sluggish, terrible. Okay, so we're not back. And it's so frustrating. Like, I can't even describe how frustrating it is that every time it seems like, okay, yeah, Chelsea's back. Look at them. They're playing well. They have another bad game. And it boggles my mind that all you have to do is just play harder. That's it. Like, that's all they have to do right now is just play harder. And some people may be like, well, what do you mean play harder? You know, it's very generic, very generally broad. You can't really talk about play harder and not... No, it just means work harder. It just means don't stand around and walk around on the field. When you're on the field, you bust your butt, you work 110%, you leave it all on the field. But no, I see way too many people just standing and walking around. I mean, it's so nonchalant, so non-caring. It's frustrating. And that's one of the biggest issues I had under Mourinho is they didn't look like they cared. They still don't look like they care. And what I can't understand is the fact that it does, like, at times it does seem like, yeah, they care. I mean, look at how they played against Crystal Palace. They care. But then I see a game like today, I'm like, no, they don't care. They don't. The only player that I can say cared the whole match is Willian. He worked hard. He had a couple mistakes on the ball, but he worked hard to get the ball back. Costa, whenever the ball was near him, he cared. And when it wasn't, whenever the ball went away, he's walking again. If it's near him, yeah, he cares. He's running. But the ball's over there, he's just going to walk. Who cares? And it's the other frustrating thing is they kept West Brom in the game. Like, this game should have been theirs, but their own mistakes, their own lack of effort whenever they're ahead is what let West Brom back into the game. And it's even more frustrating when Tony Gale, the announcer, is such a Chelsea hater that every single time that Chelsea stepped down and let West Brom back in the game, he's talking about how great West Brom are. They didn't do a thing to get themselves back in it. Their first goal came off a Pedro mistake. The second goal I didn't see because my internet sucks, and so the game skipped over it, which is another reason I'm really pissed off right now. But it was Chelsea's mistakes that were letting them back in. And then Chelsea not pushing and pressing hard that let them have possession of the ball. They could pass around so easy because they're not stepping up and trying to win the ball back. And so it looks like West Brom is this, oh, they really came in today and really took it to them. They didn't do a whole lot. All they had to do was just play. They just had to go out there. They had to kick it around. They had to just run a lot, press high, and that's it. That's all you have to do to stop Chelsea nowadays. Just press them high. They'll lose the ball easily, and you got possession back. And then as far as defense, Costa doesn't work hard enough for the defense to have to do much to stop him. All they have to do is just work hard like the 3 times a game that he's working hard, and then that's it. They stopped him. So it's so frustrating to see. And before I start, I'm going to go into a bit more detail, obviously. But before I start, I hate the fact that they gave up the tying goal, because I was already going to talk about this. But now that they tied, it sounds like I'm making an excuse for it. I'm not. There's no excuse for tying. But the referee today was terrible. I mean, he wasn't the reason they tied, but he was god-awful. The one thing that I hate that referees do way too often is that a player gets a yellow card. Then he has another bad challenge. It's like, that should be a yellow. But because he's on a yellow, the referee's lenient. Then he has another bad challenge, and that's like okay, that's your last chance. And then the coach is like, okay, yeah, that's his last chance. Let's get him off the field. That shouldn't happen. If it's a yellow card challenge, it's a yellow card challenge. You're off. Jakob had 3 yellow card challenges today. He had the one in the first half where he kicked Willian on his run down field, so broke up the breakaway. That's a yellow. He had one on Oscar where he's starting to break away. He pulls him back and nudges him over. Another yellow. And then he has the one on Costa as Costa's running behind, pulls his arm back, and then clips his legs from behind. That's a third yellow. And only the first one got the yellow because the second two is like, oh, he's on a yellow already. I'll let him go. No, you don't let him go. If it's a yellow card challenge, give him a yellow card. Don't be such a wimp. don't wimp out of it just because you don't want people to hate you. If it's a yellow card challenge, it's a yellow card challenge. It doesn't matter. So that was frustrating. The first half ending, really frustrating. I mean, West Brom had just wasted like 20 seconds getting ready for that free kick right before the half ended. And then Chelsea's breaking away, and there's 2 seconds left in the stoppage time, which technically there should be more because of the time wasted on the free kick. But he blows it with 2 seconds left to go in what stoppage time was left. That's whether obviously the referee has final decision when stoppage time ends, but that was pretty poor in my opinion. I mean, to stop a breakaway like that when there should be a little bit more added on to the 3 minutes, that was pretty poor. And then just several little fouls called for West Brom that weren't getting called Chelsea's way. And I've seen this happen in some games, and it's not because there's a conspiracy against Chelsea, but sometimes there does seem to be a bit of a bias in that West Brom player goes over easy, that's a foul. Chelsea player goes over easy, that's not a foul. Let it go. And there are just several moments where you can see how frustrating it is for the players, and obviously shown by that one Courtois yellow card when he pushed McLean. It gets frustrating for Jakob not getting another yellow, for all these little fouls that West Brom were getting given, and then Chelsea's not getting the same type of fouls called for them. Wow. Sorry, I've got Liverpool Arsenal on in the background. It's a great game. So all of that stuff going on is just like, you got to call it both ways. Okay. You got to call it both ways. And if you don't, you're just frustrating the one team that's not getting the calls, and you're not keeping control of the game, and then people are getting yellow cards left and right because they're frustrated. So, like I said, I'm not at all blaming this result on the referees. If Jakob had gotten the red card, would things be different? Probably. If some of the fouls that he was calling and some of the fouls he didn't call had been switched, would things have been different? Most likely. But that doesn't... I just wanted to point that out because it really is frustrating to see sometimes. But beyond that, from the team perspective, not a good result. Not a good performance. They had moments where it's like, yes, that's what I want to see. The moments right before the goals, the 5-10 minutes before the goals happened, they were like, this is what I want to see. This is the Chelsea that I want to tune in and watch week after week after week. And then after they get the goal, it's like, And then I'm watching the Chelsea I've been watching all year. Just slow in the build-up, slow to press, slow to step to, so players have so much time to work on the ball. It's really frustrating. And now for the more detailed report of the team itself. I thought Courtois actually had a particularly poor game as far as the saves he was making. I really thought he should have had Gardner's goal on the first one. He had plenty of time to see it, and if he's in the middle of the goal, and if he's ready for that shot to the far corner, he gets to it. But for some reason, he just wasn't aware of it. So I do kind of put a bit of the blame on him for that goal. Obviously, the standout poor performance in this one, Pedro, just completely non-existent on the field until he gives the ball away that leads to West Brom's goal. That's the first thing that I noticed him do the whole half. But thinking back, I can think of several times where he just out-muscled on the ball, holds on to it too long, he's not making good passes, he's not getting himself in the right position. So whenever he came off at halftime, I was like, okay, good, Gus can see stuff. let's see. Defensively, Ivanovic, another poor game. Um, the one thing that he's been doing well this season is yet another thing that he's not doing well today, and that's winning the ball in the air. McLean had two headers that he beat him on. McLean's like this, and Ivanovic is like this. And Ivanovic is big, and he can jump well. He's used to doing stuff like that. And yet he gets beat by like two or three headers today. That's frustrating. And he's not getting back in the position. He steps up in the attack, which he normally does. But the one thing that he's always been good about before this year is getting back, putting himself right back into the right back position. That was a weird pun. Anyway, he always does that well. He didn't today. He would stay up there. And now you've got Zuma stepping over to cover that position, which leaves more space open in the middle of the field. That's just more space. And like I still don't, like I said, I didn't get to see the second goal for West Brom, so I don't know what happened there. So I don't know, if it was one of the defenders' fault or if it was just, I don't know what happened. Hopefully the highlights will pop up in a second. I can see it. Anyway, but just from what I did see, Ivanovic did not play well today. The cross was a good one, but I prefer to have my defenders defending well rather than attacking well. And he did not defend well at all today. Zuma and Terry defended well for the most part. Like I said, I didn't see the second goal. Zuma started making a few weird mistakes near the end. I don't know if that's just a lack of concentration or if it's I don't really know what was going on, but it was kind of frustrating to see. Like, we want to get the ball forward, we want to go on and win it, and he's back there doing silly stuff and giving up the ball. So that was frustrating to see, but defensively, he and Terry did very well. Zuma did very well, winning the ball out of the air, trying to send it up, and he's jumping up and heading it away. So that was good. Let's see. Aspilicueta had another average game. He got beat a couple times. That it's Aspilicueta. He never gets beat. He's been getting beat a few too many times in these past few games. So, hopefully it's just the mask, and hopefully once the mask comes off, he can get back to where he was. But in this game in particular, there were a few times that I just, I was like, that's not Aspilicueta. He's getting beat way too easily. So that was frustrating. Mikel did okay. I'm going to talk about that in a second, but he did okay. Offensively, not the player you want on the field. He just, he defends well, I guess. Normally he doesn't, but today he did. Once again, barring the second goal, I don't know what happened there, but it's just, you want somebody else there. You want somebody else to do that job because there are so many people that can do it better than him. And, Matic, he does the defensive part well, and he also passes well. So, I just prefer to see Matic out there. Fabregas actually had a good game today, except defensively. He wasn't really there defensively. God, that's frustrating to see, looking at the table. We could be up there, but no. I'm sorry. I don't know. I'm not ADD, but sometimes I just get distracted. So, I guess Mikel did well defensively. Fabregas did well offensively. So they are kind of the midfielding pair that you would normally want. But in this game, Mikel didn't do enough offensive stuff well, and Fabregas didn't do enough defensive stuff well. So it was just, it could have been great, but it wasn't because, well, they're not as good as they should be in other areas. So I would have preferred to see Matic out there maybe, just to give you somebody who can play both sides of the ball well instead of just two players that play one side of it well. Okay, up top, I already talked about Pedro. Poor game. Oscar played okay. Didn't really have that moment that made me think, oh, Oscar, yeah. Just Saw that McLean scored. That means it was Ivanovic's side. But with Oscar, most of the time, it's like you see when he's out there, like you have a moment that you can pick out and be like, Oscar. He didn't have a moment like that today. The only moment that I really think of is the back heel to Costa that Costa like mishit. But other than that, like I don't remember much of what he did today, and that means it was a bad game for Oscar because most of the time Oscar does stuff that is memorable. He makes great passes or he does certain stuff well that helps in the attack. But he didn't really do that today. I mean, I'm not saying that he played bad, but I do think that he could have had a better game. Willian always plays well. Like I said earlier, the few mistakes that he did make when he lost the ball, worked his butt off to get the ball back, and that's what I want to see. And on the other side of it, Costa does not do that well, and really, really wish that he would do that better because that's what he did well last year. He put a lot of pressure on it, worked hard even when the ball wasn't near him, worked hard to get himself in the right positions. As far as the whole stuff today between him and Olsen and all of that stuff going on, it's not as bad as it has been. And I don't think it was completely him either. I think Olsen was giving as good as he was getting. I think they were both kind of having a go at each other. And, of course, the announcer was like, oh, Costa up to his old antics. Olsen's just got to ignore him. I'm like, Olsen's clearly, like, talking back. So, I don't know. Something about Tony Gale and Chelsea just... I can't stand whenever he's announcing a Chelsea game. Because he clearly has a bit of a bias there. So, anyway. But, yeah, Costa, he played okay. He had moments where he was playing well. But overall, if you look at the whole game, not a good game. He just had little moments where he was putting himself in the right spots. One shot, probably very, very close, good save by Myhill. And then the one that I was talking about with Oscar, the back heel to him, and he blasted it over. Definitely should have finished that one. So that was the team as a whole. Everybody individually. I guess Kennedy came on, played well. Really disappointed that he didn't get the goal. Own goal. Frustrating. Because, he put himself in the right position. It was well worked. But he came out and he worked really hard. Defensively, he's still not there yet. And there were several times when he was putting himself in the right positions. But he's not defensively gifted enough to take the ball away. He would stick a foot in, and it'd bounce off of him, and then bounce off of him, and then it would be back to West Brom. Whereas Oscar or Willian, if they're defending, they're getting the ball away from the West Brom player. So just work with him defensively, and I think he can be a much better player. And then Matic came on and didn't do too much. Defensively, helped out a little bit, barring what happened leading up to the goal. So, he came on, though, and still not back yet. You can tell he's still not to the level he was last year. So hopefully that changes. But let's talk about the changes themselves from Gus. Like I said, Pedro, very poor first half, non-existent, made a mistake that led to the goal. Kennedy comes on, I'm happy with that change. I thought, absolutely, Pedro deserved to come off. Kennedy needs to be given a shot. So I did really like that change. But then they go a goal up, and Matic comes on for Fabregas, which means you've now got two defensive players on the field. Why? Last year, okay, I could totally see that. That's what Mourinho did so well last year. He brought on defensive player and shut down the game. That's how it worked. This year, with the defense how it is, you can't do that. It's frustrating because you can't expect a one-goal lead to hold anymore. You can't. Last year, yeah, definitely defend a one-goal lead because you got the defense to do it. They're playing well. great. 1 goal lead, hold on to it, hold on tight. This year, 1 goal lead, you need to go get another. And so to take off Fabregas, who is your attacking player, and put on Matic, who's, he can attack, but not as good as Fabregas. He defends well. Well, you're asking for West Brom to just completely come at you and try to get a tying goal, and that's what they did. And I hate that because what we need to do now is, after good game against Crystal Palace, bad game against Scunthorpe, we need to start putting together good results, not just a win. We need a good result. So we need a 2 goal deficit win. We need a 3 goal deficit win. We need to win by a good number, not just, oh yeah, 1 goal, let's just hold on to it. We can't do that. Teams are too confident now to be able to come in and try to get a point or try to win, that we have to start just banging in goals. I am all for a good, strong defense. We don't have that this year. we do not have a strong enough defense to try to hold on to a 1 goal lead. So this is the type of year where you want to really throw forward an offensive line to try to get as many goals as you can and just hope you can outscore the other team, because that's the type of year it is. It's not a year for trying to defend well and trying to hold on to the lead. You have to just score and try to score another one. Try to score another one. Try to score another one. If somebody is able to score on you, if they're able to get a goal back, okay, well, you've got 3 more in the goal, so who cares? And that's the frustration, is that I feel like Gus is kind of, I don't want to say he's not confident enough, but I feel like he's trying to play it safe right now. Like he did against Man U, instead of trying to throw something forward and try to throw everybody. He just kind of said, okay, yeah, draw's good. Instead of trying to put somebody on that might be able to change the game. That's the type of stuff I want to see from him. But I feel like he's still not confident enough. He's still learning. He's still trying to play it safe. And so putting on another defensive player in his mind is a good idea. Whereas, in my opinion, you want to put on either another attacking player or get fresh legs, Mikel off Matic on, like for like swap, just to get fresh legs. So I was really frustrated with that decision. Hopefully they're going to show highlights before I get done talking about this. But yeah, other than that, I thought there are just too many moments in this match that I feel like I'm watching first half of the year Chelsea. They really, I don't know who's going to do it, but somebody's got to light a fire under them to just go on and get the result. Go on, fight hard, play hard, and just keep working on and off the ball. Keep working, move around. Not enough movement in the box in this game, and it's frustrating to watch. So that's my opinion. Still a fan. Still hoping that we can still get a good result out of this season. But things have still got to change. There's too much going wrong right now that has got to be fixed. That Gus is not fixed yet. So we got another game at home against Everton, which home has not been the best place to be this year for us. So hopefully things will change this weekend. But we'll see what happens. Let me know down below what you think of this result. Let me know what you think is your solution for how to fix it. We'll talk about it, discuss. Hopefully we can figure out what to do, and we'll send a message to Gus and tell him this is what you need to do. But yeah, so disappointed, but hopefully things can get better from here. Hopefully Gus is still taking notes, and we'll start taking some more chances. But yeah, I'll see you guys at the next game. Peace out.